It's 6 o'clock and we have a quorum, so I'm calling the meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. We have
It's right there.
right to our old business before I make my own announcements. Minutes from January 3rd.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike. Do we have a second?
Second.
By Lois and Patrick.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Ladies first.
You get a tie. Tie goes to the runner. Okay. Any comments before we vote? Questions? No. Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Yes, all right. Motion passes. Thank you. All right, new business. First thing I want to do is welcome our new voting member to the committee, Clark Winchell. Nice to have you here. Thank you. Very nice to have you here. Clark, I'll let you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Been in town a little less than 2 years, worked 30 years in construction as an estimator. So familiar with, I've been on a building committee that Downs was on inside the Amity district, and just want to see if I can contribute anything with my experience and past knowledge. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for inquiring about us. Clark found us actually quite some time ago. But, welcome. Okay,
Excuse me,
Yoli-
Chair, could we request that people speak up? It's hard to hear.
Sure. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So we got to speak like this loud. Okay.
Okay.
The other thing I just want to bring up before we get into our updates is that Tom from Downs and I did report on January 10th to the Governance Policy and Economic Development Subcommittee of the Town Council. That used to be Admin and Education Subcommittee. Just an update on the project. So we did that successfully. And with that, let's get right to updates from Downs. We've got live and in person.
I've been in
Live
person.
and in person. Anthony?
What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing tonight? Cold. Exactly. All right, I'm gonna share my screen with an agenda. Go run through the list, and at the end, we'll scroll through about 4 or 5 pictures. There's one picture actually I have online here that didn't make it into this agenda. I want everybody to see it at the same time for the people online. So first things first, project update, just some contractual items. Structural wood framing contract will be issued at the end of this week. Once that is complete and submitted, we will be done with issuance of all subcontracts to our contractors. Permit update. We were waiting on the mass demo permit when I put this agenda together. Had a couple phone calls late afternoon. We are going to be obtaining our mass demo permit for the Riley building. We're just getting it submitted from Stanford Wrecking into our possession for our records. Once they're done over there, removing the foundation from Prosser, existing Prosser library, they'll be transitioning right over across the bridge there, coming over to the Riley site and knocking that building down. Construction schedule update, item B here, MEP coordination process. We're trying to work out some kinks here in the children's area level. TSKP and their consultants have provided us a new design within the area, modifying some structural steel. In the meantime, our BIM coordinator, our consultant KLS is going through those changes to make sure everything is going to fit properly with some duct transitions. After that, that should take us to the end of the MEP coordination process, where we'll have 4 drawings signed off by all the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, fire protection subcontractors, so we can continue forward with that progress. Obviously, the first one we would like to get is the underground. Once that building comes down and we start doing some site work, we'd like to start making some trenches for the routing of the underground pipe and electrical conduit. Major submittal releases, just want to update, we should be getting millwork submittals by the end of this week, as well as some other miscellaneous items for long lead. We did receive some of our roofing submittals, so we started that process. The main goal is to release all the long lead items, rooftop units, which have been released, panel boards, which have been released. But we want to get this building enclosed, as it goes up as soon as possible, so we can start working on finished trades within the interior. Another big item, we did get our bridge submittal after COP number 1 was approved, which was the VE items along with the P6 alternate, which was a snow melt system. Bridge Brothers, who is a second tier subcontractor to Berlin Steel, got the shop drawings in for review. I know MHA, who is a consultant of TSKP, had reviewed them. They're going to be revised and resubmit. I know they're in Jeff's court now. He's looking at them. He's got a lot of legwork to do there as far as tying the bridge into ramps, getting it to tie in both sides to the concrete structures and footings that we're putting there. But we did know deep down inside that, this submittal is going to go through a couple renditions because there are a lot of moving targets. It is a critical item. So I know Jeff is doing his due diligence and his homework that he always does on every single submittal to get that correct for us. Prosser update, the mass demolition of the existing Prosser library continues. The main building has been demoed and debris is being currently loaded out truck by truck. We are tracking the recycled content of the waste loadout with Stanford Wrecking. It's currently going to go towards our 87% recycled content loadout for the lead criteria. So we'll be able to get that point. We'll check with Cynthia once all that comes back in. Mass demolition of the existing Prosser Library Foundation will be starting. We got about a week left on that, and then they'll be transitioning to the Riley item catch below. Prosser tree removals have taken place. We were able to salvage a good chunk of the trunk of that oak tree in the front. That's a tongue twister, but we got a good piece to the town. We turned it over to the DPW. They needed to help us out. They got a big truck and a nice lift to pull it over the fence. No issues. So they got a good.
Was it just one or two, Anthony? I thought
think
there
it was
two.
one piece of 12 feet.
Oh, okay.
Solid,
There were
yeah.
two there that we saw, but
Might have been two.
yeah.
It might have been two.
Okay, I think there
Unless
were
they
two.
cut it up and it was too long and they had two 12-foot pieces, but they salvaged as much as they can. We were scared, nervous at first because we did the video scope of the upper part of the tree and it was rotted. So we didn't think we were going to get this nice piece of wood salvaged over to town, but we were able to achieve that. Concrete rebar for the concrete foundation work was delivered to the site. It's on site, waiting to go. Once we start the concrete works, probably in like 4 to 5 weeks from now. The Riley building, a little update there. Underground sanitary disconnects where we were waiting on have been completed and inspected. At this point in time, it was at the fire marshal's office for sign off for the mass demo permit. And late as of tonight, we did receive word that we do have the mass demo permit, so we can get Riley down. And Riley mass demo is going to start the later part of next week. Once Stanford Wrecking is done with the foundation. Going on to item C here, requisitions and change order proposals. The December requisition is at the committee level here to vote on and approve. It is our progress billing that takes us through the end of December 2023. A few subcontractors provided a billing for that, as well as our general conditions and requirements, so on and so forth. I don't know if you want me to finish and move on to change orders, if you want to talk about the requisition now for approval, Nancy, or we could wait till.
We can handle it now.
Okay,
Okay, yeah. So let's do it now.
okay, we have application for payment number 6 for Downs Construction. It's in the amount of $206,048.35, and it's been reviewed by Colliers and signed off on by TSKP.
So moved.
Second. Mr. Ike, seconded by Jesse. Thank you, Jesse. Questions? Any hands? Nancy? Okay, all in favor of approving application number 6 for $206,048.35, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks, everybody. All right, moving on to the next item, change orders. So what I want to do is kind of summarize the change order process from start to finish into what we have to do on the end of things with our subcontractors, just so everybody has a general idea and knowledge of the process. So we first start out with a proposal request from TSKP. It may affect one subcontractor, it might affect 10. So we decipher that. We usually send it out to all the subcontractors just so we don't miss anything. They provide us their proposals. We review the proposals for hours, for material, for labor. We do our checks and balances. We put together a COP, which includes, let's say the change order affects 5 subcontractors. We get the proposals all in, we put it in a nice package, which is the change order proposal, right? We try to tell a story. We get the PR at the front telling the story that, you know, such and such is changed or added due to this reason. Here's the sketches that correspond with that. Behind that goes the proposals from our subcontractors. Once we put that together, we will bring it to the committee level. Obviously TSKP and Colliers will have their copy in their hand as well prior to the committee level to do their review and comments and concerns, as well as any TSKP consultants such as MHA structurally or RZ if it's a mechanical, electrical, or plumbing item. So they'll do their homework on it and due diligence and look at it to make sure we have the right scope of work. They're okay with the material that's being provided at a cost as well as the labor. Once it gets to that point, we are able to bring it to the committee level like we did last time we spoke, where we provided those 3 COPs. We'll present it to the committee level. They will approve it, table it, reject it, tell us to revise it. However the night goes that night. We like to get it approved, obviously, as soon as possible so we could keep our contractors moving in the field. But after, let's say it does get approved, like we did last week, I have to go back to my software program and write a GMP contract change order. That's what you'll see here tonight is the GMP CO number 1 of $38,710. That's not an additional cost. What that lump sum number is a total tally of the dollar figures of the previously approved COPs 1, 3, and 5. So what we like to do is every month, we'd like to have a GMP change order if there are any change orders and do it on a monthly process. Once I get that sign off, right, it's pretty much a formality at that point if everybody's approved the COPs. I have to go back to now I have to write subcontractor change orders. So after that approval in my program, my software, I go back and issue subcontract change orders, which affects our schedule of values, original schedule of values, with a modified contract cost for our subcontractors at that point. And that's kind of the process. I don't know if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns on it. Maybe I could elaborate a little bit more. Elizabeth?
I just had a question about the word unforeseen.
Unforeseen, that is unknown, pretty much.
So every time there's something unforeseen, essentially we go back to the drawing board and get charged for that.
It depends.
It all depends. Like for instance, if we start excavating right for the concrete work and we come up with a unforeseen foundation from 1800 that's below the subsurface that nobody knows about, it would be a potentially added cost. Another thing that behind the scenes that Downs and what we try to do with the forensics investigations with all of our projects is build in these allowances for some of these unforeseens. Now, if it's something, outrageous, what we need to do is we need to bring it to everybody's attention, ask how we go about it. Jeff will ask the RFI to TSKP and the consultants and town. Will give us a scope of work of how to get it done. And we will price that accordingly and bring it to everybody's attention so we could vote on it and make sure everybody gets their input on that unforeseen condition.
Yeah, I think it's important that everybody understand this change order process because unfortunately it's the nature of the beast that there's always changes in construction. There will be unforeseen conditions. There will be things that are forgotten about sometimes. There's things we want to change perhaps as a committee as we go down the road. So it will be part of our work going forward. A big part of our work is looking at changes it happens. You know, everybody says, oh, changes are terrible. It happens. It's part of the process. And so I just wanted to get all that alphabet soup out there with PRs, proposal requests, that's how it starts. COPs, change order proposals, and COs is the actual change order itself. So
Yeah,
so we'll go through, you know, all of that every single time it happens. Proposal requests, I mean, the origin of a change can be all kinds of things, not only unforeseen conditions.
Right, it could
But
be
like I
an
said, it
RFI.
could be things we want to add or take away from the project. You know, as the owner, it can be, like I said, mistakes, you know, they happen. We're all.
Absolutely, and two, and if a scope of changes, it doesn't mean it's necessarily gonna add something, it could deduct something. And we will have to credit back to the project the dollar cost of that scope of work, so it's all, you know. It's all how it's presented, right? So if a scope changes, adds an item, it's gonna be an added cost, but if it deletes an item that we originally had in our GMP and with our subcontractor, credit will be coming back.
yeah, so the GMP change order updates our total GMP cost that we presented to the town. So it may go higher because it's being funded from your contingency, your owner's contingency, right? Or in this case, you know, you've got some pluses and minuses, right? So Anthony had some deducts he presented too. So those are captured in this overall GMP change.
And the application for payment that we just approved, every application for payment every month will show the total of all those changes that we.
Correct, so like going forward, I know we had a nice clean breakout of our general conditions and our general requirements. Nice and neat, same monthly billing, you know, through the duration of the schedule. But now that we have change orders introduced, you know, the general conditions and requirements are gonna change a little bit, they're gonna go up based on change orders.
Right, that.
Right, and so we'll have to obviously adjust that accordingly.
More questions? Lois?
As owner's rep, what is your role in
Well, I review the, as Anthony was saying, I review the proposal request. Then I compare it to the COP, change order proposal along the way. So I review them in draft form along the way.
So you've done that before it ever gets to us?
Correct.
The TSKP, and if it's a consultant of theirs, whether it be a mechanic, RZ, mechanical engineer, or structural engineer, so on and so forth.
So Sean, you're basically acting as the owner's rep, right?
Correct.
He is, he's not only acting as he is. He is.
So he's-
playing the part officially.
He's gonna be keeping us all under control.
So those change order proposals do get reviewed in owners meetings before they come here too. So there's,
So there's quite a
Owner
level of
participation before it
filtering
gets to
prior to it hits this table.
yeah,
What is owners meetings?
we have owner meeting with the town
Owner architect.
every other week with the architect as well, design team to review.
Yeah,
steps.
I like to abbreviate that to an OAC meeting. It's owner, architect, contractor, so the team gets together
Yeah.
to just work things out.
And yeah, a lot of the nuts and bolts will occur during that as well for then decision making at the committee level. Right. So.
I've never liked, probably actually, Andrea.
No, finish what you were gonna say, Clark, and then I just had a question.
I've always been sensitive to work starting before a change order is approved. What is the process here?
We always like to start the work as soon as possible, right? Because
I
as
know
you
there's never
know,
enough time.
exactly, the process is very lengthy. By the time it gets to this level, right? We have those COPs that got approved 2 weeks ago. So now we're 2 weeks later getting this formal GMP CO approved. If we waited for the whole process, we would just lose so much time. So out of good faith effort, we usually like the subcontractors to push and move forward. A lot of the times, if it's a quick thing that we need to get done right away, we do what's called a T&M ticket, which is a time and material verification ticket that our superintendent will be out there basically behind the scenes, visually watching and making sure that the time that they put on their ticket is the actual amount of labor and material that they provided to do something.
So we strive not to just go do a T&M because we run into an unforeseen issue. As soon as we run into it, we're gonna come to the committee, well, we're gonna come to the owner in the owners meeting, with an order of magnitude of what we're looking at with the budget. If it's that hot, as Anthony said, we're gonna request an approval of an order of magnitude to move forward with T&M. to deal with the issue at hand as we try to uncover what's going on.
And usually with that being said, we like to give a not to exceed. So you know that if we give a contractor not to exceed $20,000 for this unforeseen or this change order, it allows them to start the work and we all in agreement that, you know, we're not gonna go above $20,000. If we go below that, hopefully substantially, and we'll be able to keep moving forward.
I think it's a good point, Clark, and I think from the town's perspective, that OAC meeting is really the gatekeeper. You know, we can,
Oh,
you know,
perfect. Yeah,
we can,
absolutely.
you know, we can say as the owner, we can say, no. You know, this change has to go through writing before we're gonna allow any work to happen. And understand our risk, with our risk manager present.
And I will also say that the building committee approves both the COPs formally, which are reflected in this particular change order, as well as the change order. So if the COP is approved, Downs can usually get
Right,
going on.
So what I
starting
did
with the
is, once I
subcontract.
got those COPs approved, I basically was approving the subcontractors to move forward. Because what this GMP CO really is just a summary of what I already got approved in a lump sum fashion.
Now, there probably will be some times though where you'll just have to put things on a ticket if it's an emergency, right? So,
Absolutely, and
And then
I don't like to do tickets really that much, I like to get everybody's input, but yes, Jeff. Agreed, sometimes that happens where we need to keep moving forward in the field, and again, that will be fully disclosed at OAC meetings.
perfect.
Yep.
So we have, do we have another hand up?
Yeah, Elizabeth, I'm
Yep.
sorry.
Go
I
ahead.
just had one more question. So is the point of the contingency budget lines for exactly this?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, contingency is for things that happen above and beyond our budget that we think is under control. Okay, so we have change order number 1. Do you have a
And question.
Question, go ahead.
Thank you. Okay,
Patrick.
so do we have any new COPs like in the
That's,
pipeline?
we do,
Is that-
we do.
Okay, so you're gonna go
And
there.
that's what we do is usually talk at the OAC meeting about any pending
Yeah.
potentials coming up, but you know, for instance, one of them would be the MEP coordination and changes that are happening for this children's area done.
Right. Okay, which,
Another one would be the layout of the electrical room down in the garage area that had to be reworked due to code issues that really was designed. Other than that, sometimes it's simply a maintenance item, moving money out of this allowance to this allowance. Sometimes it's, you know, unforeseen a contract negotiation where we need to move some money around. So it's not just simply change orders, it's a tool and avenue to keep the money and the funding present and clear and concise, whether we're moving money around too as well.
So that's another term, PCO, potential change order.
Potential.
So, you know, at the first sign of something, some question that might cause an add or a deduct. I know Downs tracks all these PCOs and they're talked about until they are eventually resolved.
so could we get just a flow chart of this process?
Absolutely.
You know, just a little flow of what you just described.
Yeah, okay.
Just in boxes or however you want to go.
Something like
So like if A happens, B happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
step by step.
yeah, that would be great.
Lois?
In terms of feeling involved in the project, it might be nice, since we meet every 2 weeks, if we could have a summary of what ones are on the table at that time. So that it isn't just coming to us to vote on as a done deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I think we all trust each other tremendously, but when we have to vote on something and it's dollars and cents, it would be nice if we had a little heads up when you all do.
Agreed. I
Right.
think it's important that that the committee see the PCOs that are being
In the
talked
file,
about,
yeah.
thinking about, you know, what's out there percolating.
And if you review the monthly report,
Go ahead.
if you review the monthly report, Anthony does attach a COP log,
Mhm.
change order proposal log, which does show those potential issues that are out there.
Right.
So it's also important to look at that monthly report to see what's out there, but we can. come up
Well,
with
I can
something
modify
that-
this
We're not
agenda
getting
When are we
almost like
getting
we
it?
do for the
We don't
OAC.
normally get
Section.
this.
Yeah,
We haven't been getting it.
We're right on.
COP
the-
log?
Let's do it right now.
No,
Yes,
this week.
Report.
This one that we're looking at now.
Yeah, this agenda, yeah, I could copy what we use in the
Okay,
OAC.
because that doesn't get to the building committee.
Oh, I see.
Yes,
So
right.
they're
right,
just
so
getting
what I have
something
provided
now.
at the OAC
Got it.
meeting, I'm gonna
Got it.
transpose on these agendas.
Just
Yep.
make us feel more involved.
Yeah, and what I'll do in parentheses, I'll put a budget, meaning that's what, you know, we're thinking of potential exposure would be,
Thank you.
no problem.
Elizabeth? Hannah?
I just wanted to say thank you for explaining this. It's all interesting and very new to me. So, I also had a question. I didn't understand what was said about the children's room changes.
Nothing program wise, it's just above ceiling with some ductwork for air conditioning and some plumbing pipe.
I see. Thank you.
That's that whole coordination process that Anthony was talking about, trying to fit all the different trades in above the ceiling. Is it always
It's always a fun
a
task.
challenge, right?
I get it.
More questions? If not, I will take a motion to approve change order number 1, which consists of the 3 COPs the committee has already approved.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike, seconded by Jesse. Thank you very much. Any other discussion?
So, Mr. Chair, so
Yes.
for this COP, Anthony, are we adding 38,710?
At the end of the day, that lump sum is with between those 3 COPs, 1, 3.
Yeah, okay.
It's not a COP, it's a CO.
Oh,
Now it's a CO.
It will
That's
consist
an
of
official
3.
CO, all right. Okay.
If you,
See, that'll be on your.
it was distributed, so, you know, if everybody does look at their, you know, what was sent out.
Yeah, I did.
This change order number 1 has on it 3
And I did
COPs,
look
the
at
change
that.
order.
If you guys want to, I could in parentheses put the COP numbers. It's all right.
They're on there.
Well, they're on
They're-
there.
They're on
Okay.
there.
They're on here. They're on
Okay.
there.
It's
Okay,
there.
that's fine.
It's there.
So-
you know.
Okay.
But I think it's really important to all understand.
Yes,
There's a lot of elf, you know, a lot of letters being tossed around.
yes.
Any other comments before we vote? Questions? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
I,
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Okay.
All right,
Full
last part of
story.
this agenda is some progress photos that everybody is
Love
anxious
it.
to see. All right, let me know if I need to zoom in for anybody, if you guys have a hard time seeing it.
Wait, is that building still up?
Exterior.
Yeah, we actually built it back up. Let me share it. Hold on.
Well, was that an unforeseen condition?
That's a change order of $100,000 billion coming away, Jeff.
That's a big credit coming back, right?
Yeah. All right, let's share screen. Let me go back. Let's see here. Are we all right?
No.
Oh, yes, it is.
I can see it.
Everybody has a screen.
Yes.
Everybody has a
Everybody
picture.
has-
Is it zoomed in fine?
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right. Johnny, nice haircut. All right, so this is a picture of demolition progress looking out towards Mountain Avenue from across the site. All right, that building, that side, that facade was still up, that elevation at that time. Going down the list here, demolition progress looking out towards the existing Prosser Library from the Riley lot in our DCC field office. That was one nice cold morning. About half the building is down at this point. To the left there, so it's all gone. All right, that was some demolition progress at the old lower level entrance that is no longer there. Okay. Sorry. Well, everybody.
Just drag it down.
Yep. Gee, it's today. Yeah, what do you do? Demolition progress with a small portion of the existing Prosser Library that's left. We're looking towards Mountain Avenue from across the site. The only structure that's left is that far right-hand side as you see the gable end. They took it down that morning. That's just demolition progress looking down Mountain Ave, the tree removal that has been completed and salvaged. As you can see, the building's a little more left there to go, but we wanted to make sure we get a look at how clear the site is now that that big oak tree is out of the way.
Kind of looks like a Frank Gehry project.
There you go. There you go. By design, right?
Again, this is demolition progress, looking at the right-hand side, lower level entrance, the gable end is gone. This is along the Mountain Ave side. It's been knocked down. That was early morning, and then this is the one as of,
Like how
as
the
of,
light streaming through.
that's a
the-
little
Yeah.
architectural feature there, huh?
Yeah,
You could win a photo
artistic
contest.
there.
There you go, yeah. All right, and the last one I took tonight is, it is gone.
Wow.
So with that being said, as you could see, the gray in the
Mm.
back here is the foundation of the structure that's left. And that should be coming out within the next few days. What is a clear site that's looking right outside our office, across the way, across the brook there,
That's the mall in the distance.
and the building's gone.
Just like
That's
that.
it, just like that. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? I say I didn't put this one in the agenda here for everybody, because we had to save it for the people online.
How about the bricks, Anthony, that we were gonna save some bricks?
They were probably.
Oh, they
pretty
were,
good, yeah.
so we didn't say.
I could see, there's still some on site.
Okay.
There's still some on site.
I thought Public Works was gonna.
Said you wanted to know.
Yeah, I think Jason pulled a few aside.
Did he pull a few
He
aside?
said he would, yeah.
It's gonna-
I can just come out of my own.
It's hard to
house.
save a lot when it's an old building, 'cause when it comes down, it just crumbles,
It crumbles.
you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
I'm sure Jason put some.
Yeah.
some-
okay, yeah, there's a big pile of
Yeah, go visit.
We can get
Well, I
you,
don't want any, but somebody.
we can get you a bottle of dust.
Yeah.
I'm very glad to hear about the tree though. My husband was highly invested in the tree.
A lot of
We
people were.
got the tree. So we're continuing. The next step in this process is get the foundation removed. Manifort's gonna come in with the site, start grading, getting ready for concrete prep and ground improvements.
Okay,
All right.
Very.
thank you, Anthony.
Very good.
Let's move on to Jeff. TSK.
So continuing on what Anthony was saying, tomorrow morning we have a peers meeting, right? Another one. Hopefully
Yeah,
we'll, I
just a
think,
small one, the constructability, just to make sure everybody's on the same page.
yeah.
We already
And
had
then,
a reinstall.
and it looks like Brandon Martin wants to have one too, probably regarding that ductwork coordination issue. So I should accept that. Other than that, it's just dealing with John's super hot list here. I got quite a few of those out last weekend, and I got a new list, so I'm chipping away at those, double checking things, triple checking things, grabbing Tyson when I can to get questions on colors of things, but I think I have a pretty good sense of what he wants. So just moving forward, trying to get my head above water here.
Yeah, there is a meeting scheduled to look at carpet, I believe,
22nd.
on the 22nd.
Okay.
Questions for Jeff? All right, let's move on to Sean Colliers.
Yes, I will share my screen as well. Let's see. So this week I attended the pre-installation meeting for the underground improvements. And it was brought to our attention that there is some additional, I want to say, testing, oversight, and observation of the ground improvements when they're being installed. So just sort of in layman's terms, the structural engineer, Michael Horton Associates, are responsible for everything from the bottom of the footing up in the building, say. So footings, walls, steel, they dictate all that, they oversee all that. From the bottom of footing down is Max Welty, who is contracted directly by the town. So he's a geotechnical engineer. This project is a little different from a lot of standard construction projects in that there's vibro piers to do ground improvements underneath the building to improve the soil quality. There's substantial oversight involved in substantial testing that happens with this. The subcontractor, subservice who works for Downs, they do the actual testing of the install. That testing does need to be observed by an independent third party. So in speaking with Max Welty, he just recommended that we could use Tri-State, who are already contracted with for materials testing. They could oversee this portion of the install because unlike a foundation footing where you could go look at it and see it, these are columns that are drilled into the ground and then filled with stone. So you'll never be able to go look at it afterwards. So it's important that the whole process is documented observed by a licensed engineer. So we have requested all those certifications from Tri-State, and I've sent them over to Max Welty to get his input and okay on those licenses. So I just wanted to bring that to the group's attention because this is additional special testing that will need to be approved funding to Tri-State.
Let me just, Sean, can I just shed a little light on this with a recent
Yes.
project I just did? What you said is absolutely correct, and it's good we're doing that because at Mansfield, we had Welty do everything like you said. And then on the site, it's a good thing we had that inspector there because they had uncovered, even though we did all the soil borings and the testing for the structural loads and everything like that, when they were excavating and digging things out, we found some old biomaterial, which was under a section of the building where the footings were going to go, which would have made that footing unstable. So thank God he was there. We caught it, pulled out that, got all the way down as far as we could, and then did some structural compacted fill. And then Michael Horton was able to extend the width of the footing, and we kept moving schedule wise and everything else. So it's a very important thing to have.
And just to give everyone some perspective, there's over 400 of these piers that go underneath the building. So it's a substantial ground improvement process. So that's why it is critical that it is everything's observed by the right people, the right engineers. So it's important.
All the right reporting
All the
documents.
right reporting, and Downs did emphasize that in this meeting. So any questions on that or? Yes.
Is it because of the nature of the soil or something older than that?
No, mainly the nature of the soil, and we were talking about that a little earlier today. Probably the proximity to the water being in the
Yes.
floodplain, that has an impact on it a lot as well.
So essentially, we've got these hundreds of gravel piers under the foundation footings.
Correct.
That increase the capacity of the soil, the bearing capacity of the soil.
The slab as well.
And the slab.
Yeah, slabs, the
The whole parking
entire
structure.
So it's not just a.
So you got the piers, right, the aggregate piers, then you have structural fill, and then you will have your concrete slab. So all together, all encompassing, it works as one uniform structure to distribute the load across the building.
So is this a change to the job, these
No.
piers?
No, as designed. I know they've always been in the job.
But the changes to the testing of them, is that what it's discussing?
Well, it's not necessarily a change. The testing company needs to be a third party, so it's hired directly by the town. So we've contracted for portions of it, the material testing, but not this observation aspect.
Which was an added item to the statement of special inspections.
But we will get a proposal for the additional costs that you'll bring next meeting, correct?
Yes, yep.
I mean, is
And
that gonna be a lot of hours or costs, do you know, Sean?
That's what we're trying to determine now. I have some questions into Max Welty, but it is full-time observation. So whenever they're there putting these piers in, they'll have someone there. So
Somebody gonna be there watching them watch them.
it's-
Well, that's Sean's job. That's Sean's job. He's gonna make sure they're not sitting in their truck eating sandwiches.
Exactly.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think that our current testing purchase order is well below what we thought we were gonna be paying for
The
testing.
budget, yeah.
So there's room in
So
the
there's
budget
room in-
for it,
The overall project
oh,
budget.
right, the overall project budget for testing.
Which is separate from. Downs.
Assuming it's reasonable when you get the proposal. I qualify that.
You're good, Sean?
That's it for me.
Okay, any other questions for Sean? Okay. Thank you, Sean. Nancy,
Nothing?
we are all set because we did our application for payment,
Yes.
so we're good there.
But there was one other one, Nancy, on your first email, there was an invoice. No? Or was that just
No, I think
She
she
sent
sent
it-
out the GMP change order later.
oh, maybe,
I-
okay,
yes.
maybe
Yeah,
that's.
so that's why there were
Oh,
two
okay.
emails.
Yes.
Okay, okay, all right.
We were
Gotcha.
doing invoice, I saw.
Correct.
Sorry.
Other items from the committee? Nancy?
I have two items. First of all, I'm pleased to say that we received two proposals yesterday for the solar install. Unfortunately, we got nothing from McMahon, but our consultant is reaching out to see if we can get a price for McMahon. I've been in coordination with Public Works and we've had preliminary discussions on alternate. If that doesn't happen, where we still will be doing solar. The two RFPs are under review right now by our consultant, but there was a bid for, both of them did bid on Prosser, so we're moving along with that. And speaking of bids, the town sold bonds and bands, which are short-term notes, to finance the project today. And we had wonderful results for our, we sold $17.25 million of bond anticipation notes at a interest rate of 3.21. We had 6 respondents to that. And for the 14 million in bonds that we sold, we had 16 bids. And the winning bid was 3.199%. Our financial advisor was thrilled. He's never seen anybody get 16 bids before. He was quite excited, as we all were, but so now we have the money to pay for everything that we've been approving. So, well, we haven't closed on it yet, but and we did it at a very reasonable price. Just to give you an idea, other towns like Bloomfield that were either a AA+ community, which is the bond rating that Bloomfield currently is, or AAA, which is the highest you can be, did the same thing a month or two ago, and they had rates that were at 3.95 or 4.0. So Bloomfield's rates were wonderful, and we were thrilled to report that.
So that's just timing?
It is probably timing. We were the only municipality in Connecticut that we're selling today. It is a good time. The market is very favorable. As you know, inflation is coming down. And as inflation comes down, the borrowing rate and the interest rate comes down along with it. So yes, it was probably a lot to do with timing. Plus the town did receive its maintenance of its bond rating several weeks ago.
You deserve a lot of credit for
Well,
that.
thank you.
Yeah,
It
congratulations,
was a lot of,
Nancy, and
for a lot of.
finance team, and the town maintained its AA+. Which is all great. It's great.
Mark, I do have one question.
Lois,
I sort of lost track of when we're going to be thinking about land.
we are thinking about McMahon as we speak. In fact, I have called, thanks for bringing it up. I have called for a meeting with the architect to literally light a fire under him, okay, to be blunt. Because it needs to be moving forward quickly. So I'm hoping at our next meeting, well, there'll be a lot to report on that from the architect. That is my goal. So thank you.
I can also report that Public Works is continuing to move along, and they've issued purchase orders and are going to be beginning work soon on an emergency door and the removal of the interior carpeting.
And of course, the architect will be meeting with library staff as part of that process. So very important. More questions? More comments from the committee?
I had a question.
Go ahead.
Chair, I had a question about the groundbreaking. It's next week. Is that a public ceremony?
Yes.
Okay, great. So
Groundbreaking.
just as a reminder, 2:00 on, is it on the 24th?
Yes.
Wednesday, the 24th at 2 p.m. That was the next thing I have on my agenda. So.
Oh,
thank you.
great. And then the snow date, but hopefully, or we should say the weather date, because you just never know, is the
Yeah.
25th at 2:00.
Right. And as of yesterday, both days were lousy weather. So my feeling is we're having this and we may be holding umbrellas. So
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
it'll be
and I
on the
just-
Riley, it'll be on the Riley property. So I suggest people park. You can park at Town Hall. You can park at the shopping plaza. You can park at
Ocean State.
the mall. So, Yeah, there will be no parking on site. But yeah, but the invitations, town manager's office is sending out all the invitations. And so forth. So we're looking forward to that. That was the next thing on the agenda.
I also just wanted to amplify what Down said earlier, that 87% of what people saw come down at Prosser will be recycled. I think that's just unbelievable, and we should almost have
Hopefully more. Hopefully we get like 95%, to be honest with you. It's just a rule of thumb that anything that has ACM or asbestos on it, such as concrete, brick, that doesn't count towards anything. That just gets friable and it gets sent out to a facility that could take it. But there's a lot of masonry, a lot of concrete, a lot of steel that came out of the building. So hopefully we could be around the 95% now.
You didn't-
I would like to know, without a lot of detail, what counts as recycling for some of that. It's multi-waste recycling.
I did ask our lead consultant Cynthia
Yes,
to come to this committee and give us an update, give us an
That'd be great.
overview and tell us all about our lead points and so forth. I left it up to her, when it would be appropriate time, as construction goes forward, but I did say soon. So, hopefully within the next month or two, Cynthia will join us and
Well, maybe when demo's complete,
do that.
off and you got some accurate, like.
We get some figures of the actual
Yeah,
recycle.
complete
I mean, but we're still
percentages,
chasing recycled content for the steel
that's
that gets
great.
brought in. Recycled content on basically a bunch of miscellaneous things. This is supplemental steel for overhead grill. So there's a bunch of things that we're tracking. As long as, like I like to call it, we follow the recipe that TSKP gave us, just fine.
Terrific.
I'm surprised there wasn't a time capsule in there somewhere.
Oh, yes.
You still on the unforeseen kick?
I just wonder if there was $1 million in there somewhere.
Jeff, it was some bonds, paper bonds in the tree log that we took down.
Okay.
Okay, other
No.
comments from committee? Yeah, go ahead, Elizabeth.
We also had a request from the Friends of the Public Library. They reached out about funding a marketing project. Essentially, they want to put 2 8x4 banners up to the fencing at the Prosser site that will direct people to our temporary locations and be able to be seen from all directions at the intersection.
Can you bring that to the building committee for approval, please? What they propose, what those things are gonna look like, where they're gonna be located?
Okay, so ask them for a mock-up and then
Sure,
bring that
yeah.
forward?
Yep.
Okay, yes, I can do that.
Whoever is designing that and then coordinate with Downs in terms of location
Jason could probably.
and then
Well, yeah, but Anthony, you could show in a drawing where it would be located and like, you could meet with Elizabeth to look where she wants to put it and just a site plan overhead showing, where.
Yeah,
where
yeah,
she
we could do
possibly
it. I
wants
could
it.
even go outside and
Couple
stand across
lines,
the street and take a
you know?
picture. Almost like the one I had of the demo looking down Mountain Avenue on the corner there.
Yeah.
Just the only thing, Elizabeth, is that the state DCD sign is kind of encroached to the corner. I actually yelled at Jason because our down sign is behind that DCD state sign. So we need to shift that bad boy over to the right hand side a little bit, now that the tree's down. But anyway.
Just coordinate with Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's
with our
great.
sign too, but.
Yeah, thank you to the
Exactly,
Friends.
exactly.
For that.
Yeah, the Friends have been very supportive. And then last but not least, we got some calls from our friends at West Hartford Public Library. We have a lot of residents going there, asking where we are and asking how to renew library cards. And I want to invite the Library Building Committee and anybody else watching to come visit us at 1300 Hall Boulevard, where we have the BPL atrium. There's parking right out front. You come in, it's very seamless. We have materials, computers, everything that you're used to. However, if you are unable to come or if it's easier to call us, you can just call and we can go over a few things over the phone and renew your library card that way. West Hartford, Windsor, Simsbury, they're unable to renew Bloomfield cards. You have to be in your hometown library to do that. So if everybody could help us continue to spread the word about our locations and how easy it is to call us, that would be really great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else from the committee? All right, anybody from the public comments? Nancy, do we have public members with hands up? Do we have people from the public?
There are people from the public, no hands are up.
Going once? Twice, public comments. All right, thank you, everybody from the public for joining us. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
By Mr. Ike, seconded by, second by Patrick. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, everybody. See you at the groundbreaking next week.
I was looking at the weather too, and I didn't think.
No, it's better than it was.